And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today we're looking at the NFL salary cap increase and how that's going to impact the Washington Commanders in free agency. And so, if you have not heard, the NFL salary cap is expected to go up this upcoming season anywhere from 277.5 million to 281.5 million. That's up from the last couple seasons. In fact, in 2024, it was 255.4 million. 2023, it was 224.8 million. And in 2022, 208.2 million. And so the salary cap has been increasing. And so what this means now for the Washington Commanders is that they're going to have a little bit more money to spend here in the offseason. So according to this article, which you can find here on Rigo's Rag, it looks like that the Washington Commanders are expected to have 82.21 million with 46 players under contract. And that is if the salary cap's at 277.5 million. And that ultimately means that the Washington Commanders are going to have the third largest expected sum to maybe spend here in the offseason behind the Las Vegas Raiders and the New England Patriots. And so now, what does that mean for the Washington Commanders in this offseason, in this free agent period that's getting ready to start? I think that we already know that the Washington Commanders are going to be aggressive in free agency. I think that that's something that Adam Peters has really made clear. And I think that he really wants to maximize, this window with Jaden Daniels, and just the fact that, I think that we're just a couple pieces away perhaps to getting back into the Super Bowl and then perhaps winning this thing. And I think that, now he's going to be aggressive and he's going to act accordingly. And I don't think that with this increase in salary, he's going to be overly aggressive. I think that, when I look back in the prior years with past management and the front office, they would go out, they would go get an Albert Haynesworth for $100 million. I'm just throwing out an example that the Washington franchise did do back in the day. But I think that Adam Peters is going to be smart in how he spends, and it's going to be good. I think it is going to net us like a good free agent, somebody that's going to make an immediate impact. But I think that the Washington Commanders have really shown that they want to get strength in numbers. They want to also get a lot of other good players in that really makes sense for the winning, kind of mindset that this franchise has now. And so that means that you can't just go all in on one player. And so I think that even with the salary increase, you're going to see the Washington Commanders really go into this with a game plan, and that's good. And I think that, another thing to really watch for, and one of the things that we really haven't talked about a lot, is that, I think the Washington Commanders are really going to benefit from the salary cap casualties. And that is just going to be from teams that, they're going to try to save cost, because even with the salary cap increase, it's probably still not going to help them as far as their bottom line. And so that means that players are going to get released in order to get some cap relief, And so some of those players that you could look out for, and this is a player that I just saw recently here, was like a Joey Bosa out of the Los Angeles Chargers, edge rusher. And so perhaps maybe he's available if the Chargers decide to go that route. Another player that we've obviously been linked to is Cooper Kupp. I think that if Cooper Kupp is not moved via trade, there's the possibility that he could be cut. We've already talked about Devontae Adams, who I think is, if the reports are true, he's headed to a West Coast team. But more than likely, he would be in a situation where the Jets are trying to move in a different direction. It obviously would be beneficial if they go ahead and cut him. That saves them some money there on their cap. And so, I think the Washington Commanders, because of the salary that they have, they're going to be able to be in play maybe for some good players. And, they're not necessarily, I think, going to have to really go out and really, I think, break the bank to get these players. It's good because I think that they're going to want to sign with the Washington Commanders, especially since the success that we had last season, the quarterback that we have in play. And so that's what I want to see more of, is just what players do get, kind of cut and just ultimately want to come to the Washington Commanders because of that success. So I think that is something definitely to watch. And when it comes down to the trades too, because I know we've been talking about the Washington Commanders being involved in a Myles Garrett trade. Like, I definitely think that the Commanders are going to be aggressive there, but I also think that they're going to be smart about it too. I think much like last year, I should say, when they got Marshawn Lattimore, I think it was one of those things where it was very strategically planned. I don't think the Washington Commanders gave up a lot, and yes, they're going to give up some more for a prime time player, but I definitely think that Adam Peters values the draft, and I think that as much as we get caught into the big names and things like that you can trade for, we must understand that the draft is super important because, look, even in last season's draft, when you look at it, we got Jaden Daniels. We clearly know what we got with that special talent. But the other players that came along with him were significant. Like, you had Johnny Newton, defensive tackle. Look, he played in 16 games and it had 11 starts. And then you had Mikey Samra still. I think he really stabilized the secondary. He was in 17 games, 16 starts. I think that Ben Sinnott is going to be a great piece for us, depending on what we're going to do with John Bates. And then also to Zach Ertz, I'd expect for him to start getting some more playing time. Then in the third round, Brandon Coleman, he was huge for us. Offensive tackle, he had 12 starts. Luke McCaffrey is a player that I think is going to take a step forward this upcoming season, especially with the free agent questions that we have at wide receiver. And so I think he's going to play a little bit more of a role. And then when you look in round 5 and round 7, look, Jordan McGee, Dominique Hampton, and then Javonte Jean Baptiste is in round 7, and these were all players that did at least suit up for us and play on defense there. And so, look, I think that the bottom line is Washington is going to certainly be in play for a trade, but I don't think that they're going to give up the farm because the draft picks are equally important as far as building out this team and being a Super Bowl contender. So do expect for the Washington Commanders to definitely still value draft capital. And so with that being said, let me know what you're thinking in the comments about this increase in salary across the NFL. Do you think the Washington Commanders are going to spend it all in free agency with that? Or do you think that, yes, they're going to, even with the increase, look, they're still going to be smart about it? Because let's not make any mistake about it. The Washington Commanders still have to address some very good players in-house that helped this team get to where it was last season. I think that there's going to be a lot of players that are coming back to the Washington Commanders. We know that there's, equally a lot that are probably not, but we do have some money that will need to be allocated to them as well. And so let me know in the comments what direction you think the Washington Commanders will go. And as I always say, go Commanders. I will see you on the next one. All right. Peace.